What is up, tube users? I'm the stereotypical gamer, and welcome back to another episode of Z to A. Today, we are taking a look at Teardown. This was an interesting game to come back to. So, I originally bought this game around when it first came out. I think I waited a little bit for it to be on sale and then bought it, but I remember seeing videos of this game and everything about it looked really fun. You know, it was just a really creative demolition kind of game, but with some puzzling in it, which was really interesting and was really intriguing to me. And so I bought it, I played through the first level, and just something didn't feel right about the game. Like, I don't know if it was just my graphics card couldn't handle the game for some reason, even though it's a not really graphically intensive game, but it just didn't feel right, and it kind of made me feel nauseous just playing it. And I didn't really go into the settings at all that first time playing it, and I just kind of stopped playing it. I just kind of left it and didn't ever come back to it until now. And I opened the game up again, and I had that same problem. It was just like this weird movement. The camera shakes were weird. I couldn't figure out what exactly it was that was bothering me, but it just didn't feel right. And so I just kind of delved into the settings of this game, tried to like lower graphics and stuff, and funny enough, I find that there's like it's a head bobbing is turned on by default for this game, and after turning that off, everything just felt so much smoother. It felt like a proper game. So I'm not sure why that's a default option for this game, but once I fixed that, it was super smooth. Nothing felt nauseating, and everything just felt like it should have felt when I first played this game. And it's kind of crazy to think about, because I wasn't going to do a video of this game just because of how nauseating and unplayable it is. I just couldn't get through like the bare minimum of playing this game for this series. But going into the settings and changing those just completely fixed the game. And it's crazy that those things are default, because I feel like majority of players just wouldn't like how that feels. I haven't read any reviews or anything about that online, but it was just kind of crazy to me that just changing these default options completely changed my view of this game and actually made it the fun and exciting game that I wished it was when it originally launched. But enough about that little weirdness I had with this game. Let's get into the game itself. And Teardown is a absolute blast of a game to play once you get the settings right, that is. I think the best part about Teardown is the creative freedom it gives you to do each objective in the game. Most of the objectives for each mission are pretty basic. You know, it's like grab the intel or flatten this building and stuff like that. They're all pretty basic and easy to understand what you're supposed to do, but it doesn't really tell you how to do it, and that's where kind of the creative freedom comes in. So, like, for example, you have to flatten this building to a certain height, and around the area there could be like explosives, or you have a sledgehammer, or there's different vehicles that you can use. So it really becomes up to you on how you want to complete that objective. Like, I honestly think this game has one of the best first levels of any game out there. You know, a lot of first levels in games, especially campaigns, just kind of tutorialize what the game is about, what you should be doing, and just kind of how the different systems in the game operate. This game's first mission feels more just like an open sandbox, which is just kind of unique and just a breath of fresh air when you just have one simple objective to flatten the house, but there's just so many different ways that you can achieve that goal. It is just such a fun and creative way to introduce the mechanics of your game. But it's not just a demolition sandbox. While the demolition is definitely really satisfying and really fun to play around with in this game, there is puzzle elements to the campaign missions, at least, that are just really fun and creative on how you are supposed to solve them, or how you can solve them rather, because everything in this game is just a creative bubble that you can form however you want to. And so like in this mission you have to collect 3 like key cards, I think they are, in 60 seconds. So you know where they are and you just kind of have to plan your route out and make sure that, you know, the areas to get to them are easy and you can do it in under a minute, because it is a challenge. It does take some trial and error. It definitely took me a few times for the first couple of missions, but once you get the timing of everything down, and once you just know your route and can execute it properly, it is a really fun feeling. It almost feels like you're speedrunning the game, but I'm sure people can do it a lot faster than I can. And I feel like I'm just scratching the surface of the creativity you can use in this game, because while the objectives seem pretty linear on each level, you know, it's go to point A, then to point B, then to point C, there's definitely more of an open world to things, because there's things to explore. You know, you can find secret items that will give you more money. You can find secret vehicles that can be useful in a certain situation if you plan accordingly, kind of thing. So there's a lot more to each of these levels than the objectives lead on, and just being able to explore and just find these things and create new and different pathways to what you were originally planning is a really fun and just kind of a unique thing that Teardown does. And you know, usually I would go into some of the bad aspects of the game, and besides those default settings, which I would highly recommend anyone who hasn't tried this game and wants to try it out, is to go into the settings and make sure you turn off head bobbing, and I forget what the other setting is, but it's right under head bobbing. It is just, it makes the game feel so much better when you turn those off, and it just blows my mind that those are default options. But other than that, everything else about this game I thoroughly enjoyed. The gameplay was super fun. The mechanics of everything is super enjoyable, and I definitely, now that the game feels good, I will definitely be playing a lot more of this. And I definitely want to see, because I know that there's creative workshops and stuff, there's a lot of just creativity that this game offers, and I definitely want to explore that more. My only other small complaint about this game is that I wish the campaign was a little bit more fleshed out. Basically, the entire story of the campaign is told through emails that the character receives, so it's just kind of hard to follow because it's just boring to read through emails and stuff like that. You just kind of want to get into the missions. And yeah, I get that this game is definitely more about the creative freedom and the missions themselves, but I just kind of wish there was more to the why I'm doing all this in the first place. But I honestly can't harp on the story too much when the campaign missions are some of the funnest campaign missions I've ever played through, because of the creative freedom that it gives. Like, it's just crazy to think about. When I think about a campaign, you know, you think about first-person shooters and all these different things. I think the closest creative campaign that I've played through is Prison Architect. And while, yeah, Prison Architect does give you a lot of freedom in building the prison, the campaign doesn't really give you that freedom that the actual game gives you. But this just gives you complete and total freedom on how to do the objectives. There's just basically that one objective, and it's up to you to solve out how to do it and how you want to do it. So I really enjoy that about this game. And it just boggles my mind that changing a few settings in the options changed my opinion of this game from being an unplayable mess of a game to a really fun and enjoyable game that could honestly be a contender for top 10 games of all time. Definitely have to play more of that before I form that opinion, but as far as first impressions goes, this definitely could be a contender. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like if you did, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.